Hello, Facebook. Good morning. Good morning. It is February 2nd or February 3rd. February 3rd, Wednesday, February 3rd. It is about 7:45 in the morning. So if you're watching us live, just drop a comment, #live. If it's on the replay, #replay. Lives and replays are available on YouTube. I'm sorry, on Facebook and on YouTube. We always do the replay. So thank you everybody for tuning in. We just repurpose this content and put it on our YouTube channel, just so everybody else can, if you're on YouTube, you can find it as well, and it's cataloged there. My YouTube channel is really cool because it's all set up by all the different topics. So if you go to my YouTube channel, Marcus Guiliano or Aroma Time, you'll find everything categorized and everything. So good morning, everybody who's tuning in. It's been an early morning for Jamie and I. Jamie's already worked out. She was up at 5:15, working out at 5:30 or 5:04, whatever time she was working out today. I was up doing a little bit of work. We made our fresh juice, and it's going to be, we're closed today. It's Wednesday. We're closed today, but Jamie and I have a few things to do. We have a call to Italy today with our travel partners in Italy. Talk about our upcoming trip in November. That's exciting. Fingers crossed, we'll be going in November. On our winery website, VIPwineryvacations.com, we've done some updates there, and you can see the future Italy trips planned and the future New York State trips planned, including Long Island. We'll be including Long Island. I just have to finish a lot of details for that. Just started the process of planning that. Jamie and I are showing the Airbnb property today to wedding guests. That's exciting. They're coming up from New York City area, actually Staten Island. So that's super exciting. So that's one of our main goals with the Airbnb property is to be able to do some beautiful weddings up there. Just have to get all the proper approvals and everything and figure all that stuff out, how many people we can have there and parking and all that kind of stuff. But that's in the process. So let's see. Wanted to talk about something you need to look for when you're buying cooking oil. Super important if you're concerned about chemicals and your health. Cooking oil, there's so much information out there, and there's so many better oils to cook with, and there's a lot of terrible oils to cook with. And then there's I just want to drop some knowledge today about buying oils and something you need to look for. You definitely need to look for when you're buying oils. So every kitchen has some type of cooking oil in it, olive oil, things like that. Cheryl's saying, Airbnb, more info, please. So Cheryl, you can go to Time, THYME, timeestate.com, and our Airbnb has its own website. You can check everything out there. It's here locally in the area. It's in the town of Worsing. Time, THYME, estate, ESTATE, timeestate.com. And you can get a bunch of information there. All the pictures are up. Both houses are listed there. Really cool. Every other services we offer, everything from massage to babysitting to everything, catering, all that's on there. All right, so oils. So whenever you buy oil, and a lot of people think, I'm just gonna go to the store and buy vegetable oil, and oil is all the same. Folks, oil is not all the same. Oil is created very, very differently. Even from the same thing, like sunflower oil can be created very differently. So some people think, sunflower oil has a great smoke point, this, that. I'm gonna go buy sunflower oil. But the way oils are made are very different, very different. So we're all familiar with extra virgin, first pressed, or cold pressed olive oil. I think that's probably the term a lot of people look for is extra virgin olive oil. Now, if you're not consuming extra virgin olive oil, you should not be consuming any olive oil. Pure olive oil, pomace olive oil, those are all very, very inexpensive, chemically extracted, barely fit for human consumption olive oil. Pomace oil traditionally was lamp oil. It was called lampante oil, and that's what you used in Italy to burn your lamps. They knew not to consume that. But if you take enough of this lampante oil and you mix in extra virgin oil into it and balance it out, you will have an oil that is barely fit for human consumption that you can sell at a very, very cheap price and put it out on the market. And the Italians don't really consume that, but us Americans do because it's all about marketing and companies and corporate greed. So The thing you're looking for when you buy any oil is the word expeller pressed, or it can be cold pressed, first pressing, but you want the word pressed in there somehow. Expeller press is probably the most common term you're going to see. Expeller pressed. Olive oils can say, stone pressed, things like that, because you can stone press them. But when it starts coming to like sunflower oils and rice oil and all these other oils, you want something that is expeller pressed. So let's relate it into terms of olive oil. Olive oil, you pick the olives and you do the first pressing, which is the extra virgin, the extra virgin pressing of oil. Now imagine everything that's left after you mechanically crush these. You take, an auger or something, a press, a grinder, and you press all these out. Basically, like wring them out, right? You wring them out, all the oil falls off. What's left is you have the pulp left. So what's in the pulp can still be extracted, but you can't mechanically do it anymore because you've already exhausted what's in there mechanically. So now what producers do is they take, and this happens with everything, okay? Every oil now, certain oils, they don't really do a first pressing because they're cheap stuff and they're like peanut oil and stuff. You just make chemically extracted oils. So what, in the terms of olive oil, this is how I'm explaining it. In terms of olive oil, you have all that pulp left over, pretty much dry pulp, right? Because it's been expeller pressed. So it's been mechanically pressed, pushed, everything's pushed out. But producers know there's still oil locked into these pressings. What they do is they take hexane, which is the petroleum byproduct, and this allows, after they douse it with hexane, this allows the oil to actually drop out of the pulp. So it's treated pulp, and then you get your, this is where you get your pure olive oil. This is where you get most of your oils you buy in the store. If you go buy corn oil, like Mazola corn oil, you go buy Wesson oil, all this stuff is chemically extracted. It's all, unless it says specifically expeller pressed. Even if you go buy sunflower oil, because people say, sunflower is great to cook with, and there's some other oils that are great to cook with. You have to be very, very, very careful. When you're picking oils for cooking, you always want to pick an oil with high smoke point. If your oil ever smokes in the pan, don't consume it. The oil is beyond shot. It's toxic, carcinogenic. It's beyond shot. Once the oil starts smoking, disregard. I know a lot of recipes call for very, very hot oil. So it's super important to pick oils that have high smoke points. So I'm just going to list off a few right here on smoke points. Okay. First of all, you never cook with olive oil. You never cook with extra virgin olive oil. It has a very low smoke point. Olive oil should be kept in a dark place. No sunlight. This is why you want something in a dark glass or tin. Refrigerated and free of oxygen. Olive oil, if olive oil were to be invented today, it would probably be one of the top 10 therapeutic things you could put into your body. They'd discover this miracle. Olives, especially like olive leaf extract, is used as an antibiotic. It's been used for thousands of years medicinally. Olive tree is almost indestructible. These things live 1,000 years. Our next trip to Italy is to Apulia. Apulia is like the mega center in Italy for olive oil and olive trees. There's 60 million olive trees in Apulia. When we flew into Apulia, not this last year, but in 2019, when we flew into Bari, as you're flying down and the plane's descending, you see just green, these olive green trees everywhere. And at first we knew what it was, but at first you're like, well, gee, what are those? And once you're going in for the landing and you're cruising at this low altitude, you just see olive grove after olive grove after olive grove. It is insane. I think Apulia only has like 5 million residents or something. There's like 60 million trees there. So you can see like olive trees are the main thing. So our next trip to Italy this fall, 2021, is to Apulia. We're going to be tasting some amazing olive oils. So back to cooking. You never, ever, ever cook with olive oil. I don't care if you're buying the cheap olive oil, because you shouldn't be buying the cheap olive oil. You should only be buying great, high quality, expeller pressed, first pressing, cold pressed, extra virgin olive oil. What you do with that is you season with it. After your food is done cooking, then you can pour it on and season. You want something with nice flavors, and you can get really, really technical. You get really technical with olive oils, just like wine. you're cooking steak, you want to season it afterwards. You might want like an extra Sicilian early pressing, very grassy. So you can get really, really technical with all these different flavor compounds. The more north you go in Italy, the colder the climate, the more milder the oils get. You're in Sicily, you're in Apulia, you're in Calabria. The oils get a lot more sun, obviously a lot more sun, a lot more. So it's different. Plus different varietals, just like wine's different varietals. Oils, olive oils will have different varietals. So, smoke points. Olive oil is only 360. Grapeseed oil is 485. So one person went, oh, Marcus said grapeseed oil is, or I read grapeseed oil has a high smoke point. Let me go buy grapeseed oil. But if you're going to buy grapeseed oil that's treated with these so-called chemicals, and then hexane gas expelled, you're buying an oil that's an inferior product that you want to avoid. So, grapeseed oil, 485. Soybean oil, 440. Peanut, 460. Canola, 450. Rice bran oil, 490. 490. Is a smoke point on rice bran oil. Now, we've been experimenting with rice bran oil lately. An expeller pressed rice bran oil, GMO free from California. Basically, rice bran is, after you mill the rice, you're left with the outer husk of the rice. Typically, for forever, this would go to, except for in Asia, this would go to feed cattle. It would go towards food for livestock. But you can press what's there and come up with some very highly nutritional oil at a very high smoke point. So we've been experimenting with this. I've always wanted to use rice bran oil because I've heard of its benefits, and we could just never quite afford it because it was really expensive. But we found a food service brand, or we found a company that makes great rice bran oil and packs it in food service containers, so the large 35-pound, 5-gallon jug of it. And we've been using it. We've used one jug so far, and everybody in the kitchen agrees here that the smoke point is much higher. Our oil barely, we can get that oil really hot without smoking anymore, which is fantastic, especially for our tuna dish, as our tuna dish requires super hot pan, a little bit of oil, and seared quickly to get a sear on the outside, I believe the inside raw. And to do that, you need very, very high heat. So now we're getting this rice bran oil up to this really high point without it smoking. And I'm like, wow, this is fantastic. This is what we've been looking for. Now, by the way, avocado oil is also a great oil. So is macadamia nut oil, and so is mustard seed oil. Mustard seed oil is also another very nutritional oil. But now these oils that I'm mentioning, again, make sure they are expeller pressed. No hexane gases in them. And you can do some research on the internet. You can do a search and find out nutritional differences. But rice bran oil, across the board seems to get a lot of beneficial reviews and raves. The one thing that was making me look into the rice oil specifically was seed oils are not really that beneficial for men, especially for testosterone. So that was that's what also made me think, well, what other oils can I use? Can I use in the kitchen here, especially since I'm eating the food all the time, that will help with that or not affect testosterone in a negative way? So males out there, where you're cooking with at home, can affect that. So, and this goes for salad oils and everything like that. All right. So, especially it's really the seed oils that are affected. So you can do some research on oils, come up with the best oil. We have avocado oil here for sale. I think there are 16-ounce containers. Avocado oil is super, super awesome oil to cook with. Rice bran oil you can use as salad dressings too. Now, because we're getting a natural expeller pressed really high quality salad oil, rice oil, when you put it into the refrigerator or it gets colder, it's going to start solidifying, just like olive oil. If you put olive oil in the refrigerator, it might start solidifying. Same thing with rice bran oil. It will solidify high quality rice bran oil. Let's see, is there anything else I need to say about this? I'm just on a website here for rice oil. Let's see, understanding fat, compare. That's a smoke point. the natural antioxidants per million, parts per million, rice bran oil is by far the largest, 220, almost 2,500 parts per million, total antioxidants parts per million, 2,500. Soybean oil comes second at 1,000. Grapeseed is 405. So lots and lots of benefits. Do some benefits. You can compare all the oils. Folks, you get what you pay for, and in this case, you're paying for your health. So super important. So check out better quality oils. If anybody needs help with picking out oils, we're happy to help you. And again, do not cook with olive oil, and do not buy pure or pomace olive oil at all. It's stuff that is highly chemicalized and is balanced out with a little bit of extra virgin to make it fit for human consumption. You only buy true extra virgin olive oil. We have two great olive oils here. Not that I'm trying to sell you olive oil right now, but we have two great olive oils here that are actually, one we're out of right now. But both of them are estate grown, which means the farm, this is another word to look for if you're buying olive oil, is they grow the olives on the place, on the farm, on the ranch that they're pressing it. So the producer themselves are the ones that grow the olives. Olives are a huge commodity, big commodity in the Mediterranean, right? So you have all these countries, Spain, from Spain to Greece, down into Africa, northern Africa, Tunisia. They all grow olives, and they're all making olive oil. But you really don't go out and buy like Tunisian olive oils. They exist, but you really don't buy them. You can buy Greek olive oils, but a lot of these companies, a lot of these regions, a lot of these growers grow the olives for somebody else. And somebody else like Bertolli, which doesn't really own an olive tree besides what's going up their driveway in Milan, they buy on the open market. It's commodities, and they buy. This is why olive oil is so fraudulent, because they're shipping tanker loads of olive oils, into these so-called bottlers, these producers. Bottlers, they're really bottlers, they're not producers. They're just bottling the stuff, blending it, bottling it, putting their label on it. And there's not much control when that happens. So they can get scammed very easily from a tanker coming in from Tunisia that supposedly has a load of extra virgin olive oil when it's cut with hazelnut oil or another inexpensive oil, and then maybe colored with a little chlorophyll and flavor added. You can do a lot to mask cheap oils and doctor them up so they would appear to be what would be good high quality oil, extra virgin olive oil. So if you're buying from a producer like the one producer we have, they are actually the farmer. So they farm the olives. They farm the olives. They pick them and they press them. So you can see. I'm not saying these big companies is all bad oil, but the chain of supply is so shortened. It's from their property to their press, as opposed to Bertolli and these other big companies. They're buying it from anywhere they can get in the Mediterranean. Italy produces or bottles far more olive oil than they could even produce in Italy. And a lot of Italian products are like that now. We have such a love affair with Italy and their food that these companies have figured out how to scale to meet this global demand for pasta, for all these other things that are coming from Italy. So they've actually, from mushrooms, porcini, so these companies actually outsource to other countries ingredients to then bring them into Italy and then make them. So a lot of times you're thinking, oh, look at this great Italian pasta I have, and then all of a sudden, not realizing it, but if you did some research, that flour was grown somewhere else. Not saying other countries are bad, but it could be grown in Poland, Bulgaria, wherever. So they're grown other places and then brought into Italy and produced, as opposed to, one of the pastas we have here, which we're going to when we go to Italy, an amazing pasta company. Jamie and I were there a little over a year ago when we were allowed to travel freely. And this pasta is by far the most expensive pasta we have here. This company here, Vito, from Pastifico. This is right outside of Arborabello, where all the Trullis are in southern Italy. This is the lemon. This is the penne, the lemon penne. This stuff, the flour's grown locally. It's like it's like in the Hudson Valley here. If you were to buy a product that's made in the Hudson Valley, but they're buying flour from wherever else, as opposed to a Hudson Valley company like Spolfolini, which is buying local flour. So it's local supporting local. This is local supporting local in southern Italy. It's not some company like the Checo or some other big brand like, that has to outsource to be able to meet with a global, to supply a global demand. So we went to Pastifico near Arborabello, 2019, November 2019. We had lunch with Vito, the owner, amazing place. Jamie, how many? They made like 30 different pastas, right? 40 different pastas. It was amazing. Cool. The bow ties, the layers, the lasagna noodles, everything. They gave us so many samples that we went and cooked when we were up in Florence, because when our guest joined us from Rome to Florence. We had so many pastas and we gave pastas away. It was an amazing, amazing experience. So we cannot wait to take people to see Vito and have a pasta lunch down there with really true small Italian producers. So there's like this, I don't want to say revolution, but there is, when you're buying Italian products, you really have to be conscious if you really want something that's truly authentic Italian. One of the things is when we drove through the Parma area, through Emilia-Romagna, like we drove all around Emilia-Romagna. You don't see too many pig farms, but the prosciutto that they're producing is supplying this global demand for prosciutto, and they're supposed to be extremely, extremely strict in Parma about the pigs are supposed to be local. They're supposed to consume the whey from the runoff from making Reggiano cheese, Parmesan Reggiano. So it's very, very, strict rules. But then you hear things like, oh my gosh, yeah, there's so much production here that they're pulling in pigs from other European countries to make prosciutto. Especially, like if you're not buying prosciutto di Parma, you could be buying, prosciutto San Daniele and prosciutto di Parma are probably the two strictest prosciutto areas or most well-known prosciutto areas in Italy. Jamie and I were back-to-back one day after another from up north to central Italy to see two operations. And really, really amazing operations. And, the reason why some of these Italian traditions are there, like in Parma and San Daniele, is because San Daniele especially has these winds that come through that region, and those winds are perfect for air drying prosciutto. So that's why that region specifically is known for their prosciutto in San Daniele, is because of the natural winds that would allow the locals for centuries to make a cured ham product, prosciutto di San Daniele. So it's really, really cool. When you start looking into the really traditional foods of Italy, and Italy has lots and lots of, they're certified from the government that you have to make it a certain way in this region to be called this. They don't want imposters. They don't want fakes coming out of there. If you're making prosciutto in San Daniele, you have to make it a certain way, which is the tradition that their ancestors figured out, and generation after generation is done and perfected. So, meant to keep this topic just to oils, but again, look for expeller pressed oils. If you're cooking a lot at home, try to avoid a lot of those seed oils. Not good for male testosterone production. Expeller pressed, no hexane gas. Rice bran oil for the win, avocado, macadamia nut, mustard seed oil, all those are very, very good oils. So just be conscious. Again, folks, you're paying for your health. Your health is worth it. So that's it. And besides, the less oil you can use in your cooking at home, the better off you are. Oil is probably one of the most abused ingredients in the home kitchen. People just think, oh, just cook this and all this. Then you can get away, most home cooks can get away with a lot less oil than they're using. So the least amount of oil, the better off you are. When you think about it, oil, even olive oil, even extra virgin olive oil, there's several doctors here in the U.S. that are great cardiologists that actually recommend zero oil, even zero olive oil, because they're saying that it's processed, a highly processed product. Not highly processed, but it's processed. Once you extract something and remove the oils from the fiber and the rest of the fruit, because olives are a fruit, you've created a processed product. So there's several doctors here in the U.S., Dr. Furman, Dr. Clapper, Dean Ornish. There's several doctors that are very, very, very well-known cardiologists who will tell their patients zero olive oil, zero oils in their diet. So, and you get your nutrients from the whole food itself. But that's a whole nother topic. All right, folks, thanks for tuning in. I appreciate it. And Jamie and I appreciate it. It's Wednesday. We're closed. Hop online for our Super Bowl box, our Super Bowl party box. $169. Feeds up to 6 people. You can pick it up this Sunday. Wine dinner is on Monday. Wine's at Seneca Lake, our last trip from Seneca Lake. $25. 4 wines in a dish, $25. Great bargain. Basically, it's going with 2 glasses of wine in a dish. Our next trip to the Finger Lakes is March 19th to 21st. We're doing the wines of Keuka Lake. Jamie and I are going up there next week to plan that route out. We were there 2 weeks ago on our trip. We went a day early. Now we're going up for 2 days. We're taking Patrick, who works for us here, and we're going to scout out the route, visit the wineries again, and just make sure that the whole thing flows. Even when we go to Italy, Jamie and I typically go a week early and scout out the area to make sure we've been there and do that. And know the area before we take you somewhere where we're unsure of. So our next Italy trip in November, Jamie and I will go a week early and go to Sicily and scout out Sicily. It'll be our first time in Sicily, so we're super excited about that. Hopefully we'll be able to travel freely and safely by November. That's the plan, so we'll see what happens. And that's it, folks. Have an amazing day, and we'll see you soon. Thanks for the support.